to the podcast entitled Health and Wellness Briefs, Tactics for a Better You. I'm Dr. Bernadette Melnyk, Vice President and Chief Wellness Officer for The Ohio State University. This podcast series is brought to you by my CWO office and wonderful Buckeye Wellness team in order to provide you with evidence-based micro-learning modules to optimize your health and well-being. Start by taking a dose of vitamin G. Given that vitamin G, or gratitude, is one of the simplest research-based strategies to improve mood, sleep, and optimism, and reduce stress and blood pressure, please take a few seconds now to think about who or what you are grateful for today. Give a dose of vitamin G to someone today for even more benefit. Today's topic is the multiple benefits of pet ownership. My guest is Dr. Rustin Moore, a renowned equine veterinarian and the fabulous dean of our College of Veterinary Medicine. Welcome to the podcast, Rustin.
Well, thank you so much, Bern, for inviting me. I really appreciate that and for that very kind introduction.
Rustin, you know me so well. We have worked collaboratively together. So you know certain things about me. One is I'm an absolute pet lover, having an equine vet for a daughter as well. I have gotten so much joy from my character building pugs at times, and my cat, which my wonderful equine daughter left with me when she moved to Tampa. Can you start to talk about some of the research, some of the benefits of pet ownership?
Sure, absolutely. There's an emerging field of research out there regarding the benefits, physical, mental, social, behavioral, emotional, psychological, on people who interact with pets. And it doesn't even have to be those who own them. It can be just, brief interactions. But some of those things from a physical perspective, and probably more so with certain types of animals, certainly with dogs, dogs actually make people walk themselves. And so it can help, even if it's someone doesn't want to walk, they know their dog needs to walk, they're going to walk the dog and therefore get the benefit from that themselves, both for heart health, diabetes, or anything else that might be related to exercise. We now know and are learning more and more about what specifically happens in the body when we interact with pets. Whether we pet them, whether we look deep into their eyes, whether there's a cat laying on our lap purring, we release a number of really important feel-good hormones. We release oxytocin, the love hormone. We release dopamine. We release serotonin. We also have a decrease in cortisol, the stress hormone. And we know that if we decrease the stress hormone, it helps in so many ways. There's studies that have shown that if people have a stroke or a heart attack and they have a pet, and in these cases, some of these studies are particularly cat, they have a 40% higher chance of being alive a year later than those who don't. And a lot of that is believed to be due to the stress relieving impact of a pet, and therefore decrease in cortisol, which can impair healing and have other side effects.
That's really amazing data. I work all the time on behavior change with people. And I think you pointed out something really important that people don't think about. Having a pet, people will often do good for the sake of their pet's health instead of just for themselves. But you get that indirect effect. If I know I got to get out and walk my dog for their benefit of physical activity as well. Now, you brought out the stress reliever of just interacting with pets. We have a program here at Ohio State called Buckeye Paw Rounds in the hospital, in the med center, with those animals. And I will tell you, at a time when stress and burnout exists for a lot of clinicians, we walk on that floor with those Buckeye Paw dogs, and the staff just swarm to the dogs, and you can see the stress melt off of them. What would you tell somebody who's a little reticent? They go back and forth. Should I get a pet? Should I not? How would you advise them?
Well, being a veterinarian and an animal enthusiast myself, and the proud owner of 3 black miniature schnauzers, I would encourage them to do so, but also to choose the right pet. It doesn't have to be a dog, which does require a little more work. You have to let them out or walk them, etc. But it's been shown that multiple different animal types, and they don't even have to be mammals. They can actually have a positive impact. Actually, simply watching fish in an aquarium also has a similar effect, a soothing, calming effect, again, related to the release of certain neurochemicals or biochemicals. So I think what they need to do is think about their lifestyle, their work schedule. Do they have family members or neighbors or whoever could chip in and help out, if you need to, let the dog out or whatever it might be. But there are lots of ways to take advantage of the benefits, depending on your lifestyle and the pet. I want to go back to the behavior change, because I even know of people who would not give up smoking, but when their cat developed asthma, they gave up smoking for the cat. So there are, that the bond between a person and an animal is powerful. It can change behaviors. It can change, your own health. And so I think it's really important. And I also really think it's important, and I think people are understanding this more. The human healthcare profession really needs to even embrace more how a pet could be used, prescribed perhaps, in both treatment and prevention of chronic diseases or even other types of things, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, on and on and on.
As a pediatric nurse practitioner and psych mental health nurse practitioner, I've always known that evidence-based benefits of pet interaction, of horse interaction for children and teens who experience trauma. You talk a little bit about, again, those mental health benefits.
Absolutely. And some of these are just astonishing, but so I'll give you a few examples. Certainly children with that have or on the autism spectrum disorder. There has been research that has shown that it helps those children, one, be more social, be more communicative, decreases their frustration. There's actually dogs that are trained to be autism support dogs. And some of those, what they do is whenever a child might be, or a youth or whoever might be having, I'm going to say an episode of whatever, and they're laying on the floor or wherever they are. These dogs are trained to lay on them. And it's almost like, creating a weight, but it actually calms them. And so there's a lot of research in that area. There's certainly evidence in post-traumatic stress disorder, whether it be veterans or, as you mentioned, it could be domestic violence victims or child abuse victims. Same thing. And what we know about that with PTSD in veterans is actually pairing them with a dog actually reduces the number of medications that they need for treatment, the dosage, decreases their typical behaviors of maybe overusing alcohol, and actually decreases aggressive type behaviors. And so there's evidence in that, and also in Alzheimer's and dementia patients, there's evidence that it helps in those as well. In fact, there was a study done here at Ohio State several years ago where they looked at the impact of not daily, but regular interaction with horses as a way to positively impact behavior and memory and things like that in dementia and Alzheimer's patients. So those are just a tip of the iceberg.
Great. Again, high quality evidence has really accumulated for the benefits of pet interaction and ownership. Rustin, I want to give you a big dose of vitamin G for all you do, not only for our university, but throughout the country with your work. Thank you for joining me today, and thanks to our listeners. Tune in for other podcasts in this series for evidence-based tips for a healthier, happier, and better you.